welcome to this Code With Me video where I'm going to be working on finding a solution to this algorithm. So the problem statement is an isogram, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, is a word that has no repeating letters, consecutive or non-consecutive. Implement a function that determines whether a string that contains only letters is an isogram. Assume the empty string is an isogram, ignore a letter case. Okay, so they give some examples. Dermatoglyphics is an isogram because none of these letters repeat or show up more than once. So ABBA is not because it has two A's. And then moose is not because it's ignoring letter case. So just those are two O's. Okay, so let me jump into how I want to start thinking about this function. Okay, so I always like to give myself comments as steps of things I need to do in order to solve this. So first thing I need to do is transform string into an array, because once it's an array, there's a lot of handy methods I can use. Okay, so I think there's two different ways that we can solve this problem. One, we can go through every single letter in the alphabet and assign a count for how many times that particular letter in the alphabet shows up in a word. Or we can start with the word itself and go through every single letter in the word and see if any are repeating. So I think I'm going to go with the latter approach, just because I don't want to have to keep count of all the letters in the alphabet. So after I have a array that is made up of every single letter in this word, I want to then let's see, what do I want to do? So one thing I'm thinking of is, as this array of letters is being iterated over, I want to be able to look at where I'm at in that iteration. So where am I in the array as it's going through and looking at each letter, and I want to be able to look at the current letter and see if it shows up in any of the preceding letters. So check if current letter is in preceding letters, and then I need to do something based on if it is or if it isn't. So maybe I need some sort of flag. Okay, yeah, so if it is, I want this function to return true. Well, okay, so yeah, if it is, return true, otherwise return. Okay, so if a current letter is found to have shown up in an earlier letter, then the entire thing returns true. But otherwise, it's going to keep iterating until the end, and then so I think I'm just going to say for now, otherwise return false, and then I'll figure out how to implement this. Okay, so I have my 4 steps in my algorithm. I want to transform a string into an array. I want to check if the current letter is in any of the preceding letters. If it is, return true, otherwise return false. Okay, so transform a string into an array. I'm using JavaScript. So I'm going to create a new variable. Well, I don't need a new variable. String dot split. Okay, so string dot split is what's going to change our string into an array of letters. And then, okay, first I'm going to actually, just for to keep track a little better of these steps, I'm going to array. Okay. I always take so long to name things. Letters array. Okay. Alright, so now transform string into an array. We have that. Check if current letter is in the preceding letters. Okay, so I'm just going to take letters R, and I think this is a job for each, because for each is an array method that'll let me look at every single it iterates over every single element in an array, and it performs a function. And for each doesn't return anything by itself, so it's not like array.maps that always returns a new array. So I don't need a new array. I don't really need anything. I just need to be able to return true or false, and that's really straightforward to do inside of a function. So I know, since I want to check if the current letter is in any of the preceding letters, I know I need to obviously keep track of the letter, but I also need to keep track of the index where a particular letter shows up. The thought here is that I can create an array that looks at I can create an array from 0 to the current index and check if the current letter is in that mini array or not. And I think it might actually need to be index -1, so that we're checking the current letter minus any other preceding letters. So let me go ahead and make that mini array. Const mini r. That is going to equal this original letters R, and then I will, and then I'm just going to use slice, and I always need to double check this method to make sure I'm using the right syntax. I believe you want to start with the index where you want to look at, and then I think we need to do IDX -1. So I'm going to double check that in a bit, but I'm going to just write out the rest of my logic for checking if the current letter is in the preceding letters. So this mini r, so if we were on T, I would want this mini r to be derma, and then I would want to be able to check, is T inside of derma? Okay, so I'm just going to do an if statement. So if mini r includes letter, I just want to, if I do return true, I don't know if that's going to stop the for each statement. Actually, I kind of feel like I might need a flag. But I guess we'll see in a second. Okay, so this comment goes with this line. Oh, okay. And then otherwise, so if this return statement actually stops the for each, then it'll return true. Otherwise, if this for each has been able to iterate over everything and it's never hit this if statement, then I want it to come down here and return false. So there's a chance that this line will never get run if this if statement gets run. I believe that's how it works, but actually, I don't believe that's how it works. I wish it works like this, because that's just straightforward, but I am going to see in a moment if this is true. First, I need to be able to make sure I'm splitting this array, like make sure that this array is doing what I want it to do. So I'm going to console.log many r many r. I also want to be able to know what the index is. Okay, because this console log statement will be I'll end up with a whole bunch of them depending on what string I pass in. So I'm going to call this function, I'm going to call this function is Isogram, and I'm just going to do a really simple one. What was it? ADA. Okay. I don't think this code editor, I don't think this platform will let me call the function myself. Oh, okay, it did. Okay. Okay, so 3 tests passed, 3 failed. Let me see these mini arrays. Okay, so at index 0, so when I'm looking at A, the mini R came back as A, D. So that's not what I wanted. Okay, yeah, probably because index 0 minus 1 is -1. Okay, so then many R at 1, and then 1 minus, okay, so I think I don't need this -1. Let me try this again. Okay. Okay, so okay, so I didn't handle the empty string case. I need to actually go back and do that. So it worked for the word Isogram moves. I'm just looking at these logs. Let me comment out this console log because it's making it difficult to see any patterns in which tests are passing or failing. Okay. Okay. So okay, so still it doesn't really show us what the input was. Okay, so I think okay, so I have 2 thoughts. One is I need to make sure this mini array can look at the very last element, or no, it doesn't need to be able to look at the last element because the letter itself would be the last element, and then it's just checking to see if it's in any of the preceding letters. Okay, so I think that's okay. I think the issue is probably this little return true or return false. So I'm just going to create a flag instead. Like a flag called const letter repeats. And I'm going to initially set it to false. Okay, so actually it's not going to be const. It needs to be let because I'm going to be reassigning the value right here. If many R includes letter, then letter repeats should be changed to true. Okay. Okay, so I know I still don't have the test case for empty string, but I just want to test this part out. And I also want to see what many R is coming back as again. Okay, so let's run this. Ooh, everything failed this time. Quite an improvement. Oh, okay, because I'm not returning anything. Okay. Um, so this for each this function ends right here. So I'm going to return letter repeats. Okay, so one thing passes. Okay, so many are index, and then I also want to look at letter just to see. Okay. Okay, so when we call this function with a, b, d, a, when index is 0, when it's at the first letter, the many are is an empty array, which makes sense. So letter repeats should be okay. So let me actually console log letter repeats too. Console log letter repeats. Okay. 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 So a. Okay. So when I call this function with ADA, letter repeats is coming back as true. So that is good. So at index 0, it's looking at an empty array. And then when it gets to D, it's looking at an array of A. And then finally, it's looking at A, and it's looking at these two elements. Okay, so that is what I expected. But now it looks like, what word is this? D-E-R. Okay, so it looks like this is coming back as false when it should be true. What word is repeating in here? D-E-R-M. I don't see any word repeating in there. Why is this supposed to be true? Okay, am I misunderstanding what an isogram is? Because they're saying A, B, A is supposed. Yep, I am. Yeah, I am. If the letter repeats, it is not an isogram. Yeah, because let's see. An isogram is a word that has no repeating letters. Okay, so instead of letter repeats, I should actually call this is isogram. Okay. Okay. So is isogram. Okay. So if many are includes the letter, then is isogram is false. So it should start off as true, and then we're going to manually change it to false when it's false. Okay. I wish I could actually just do like Command D and change all of these at once. Is so okay, and then return is isogram. Okay, I hope I found all of the letter repeats and changed them to is isogram. Okay, well, that's way better. Okay, so what I'm missing now is the empty string. Okay, so what are they saying? Oh, actually, that pass. Oh, okay. So the one that I'm missing is moose, right? Let's see what. Hmm. Okay. So let me actually call this myself with this string. And okay. Console log. Okay. Okay, that's actually silly. Um, yeah, and false. Okay, so array that includes looks for items to be the same case. So I basically need to be able to account for array that includes to be able to tell that an uppercase I is the same as a lowercase I. Um, so let's see. Oh, I mean, I hate to do stuff like this, but it's kind of necessary. Okay. So after I split this string, this word into an array, I'm going to map. So map is going to create a new array. I'm actually going to bring this down. And then I'm just going to say for every letter, return letter dot lowercase. Okay. So now all of the letters are the same case. I'm going to remove these console statements just to clean this up a little bit. And let's run this test again. Oh my god, how did I fail everything? Oh, syntax error. We'll do that. Lowercase is not a function. Let's see. Is it too lowercase? It might be too lowercase. Let's see. Yay! Everything passes. Whoop whoop. Okay. So I have this function that checks if something is an isogram. It takes in a parameter that is a string, and then the first thing my code does is it changes that string into an array where all the letters are the same lowercase. And then I have this flag is isogram. It defaults as true. And then as we go through this for each statement, it looks at every single element inside of this array, so every letter inside of the word. And if a word, so one thing it does is it makes a mini array. So it's going to always be looking at the letters that precede the current letter. And if the letters that precede the current letter include the current letter, so that means the current letter is repeating. And if a word has a repeating letter, then it is not an isogram. And then finally, I just want to return isogram, which will either be true or false. If I were to try to optimize this a bit, well, first let's actually attempt to. Okay, so it actually did pass even more test cases. So if I were to actually refactor or change anything about the solution, I would probably change this flag is isogram. There's just something about it, the default being true, that I don't like. Because most words are not isograms. Most words probably have repeating letters, like many. I don't know. That's the end of one. But I would look more into just the pedantics. Well, not pedantics, the semantics. And yes, I can be a bit pedantic about semantics, but yeah, that's what I would look at. What else would I change? I think that is what I would do. Um, I do feel like this case, this empty string, like if I change the default from true, I would need a way if explicitly or intentionally handling this empty string case. But as it is right now, I'm just going to submit this as is because it is a working solution and I've taken long enough. I'm just going to let this go through. All right. Thank you all so much for coding with me, and I hope to see you all in my next video. If you haven't subscribed, please do so that you'll be able to you'll be able to see when I post new content. I'm an early YouTuber right now, but I am planning on releasing videos twice a week on these types of videos where we're coding with me. On Wednesdays, I'll post my JavaScript algorithms, and then on Sundays, I'll be posting a different problem that I'll be solving with Python. All right, so watch out for that. Hit like if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next video.